Yes, they are.
Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for inviting me to talk today. I'm going to be talking a little bit about the California Department of Toxic Substances Control's Safer Consumer Products Program, and give you a little bit of an overview of our regulations, as well as talk about some of the research we're doing on nail and hair straightening products. And I'm Christine Papagni. I'm a senior scientist with the Safer Consumer Products Program. I think so. There we go. All right. So the Safer Consumer Products Program was established essentially in 2013, slightly before that, when the Safer Consumer Products regulations took effect. They are the framework that we follow in terms of evaluating chemicals and products. And they're essentially meant to implement the green chemistry law, which was enacted in 2018. All right, so the Saber Consumer Products Program was implemented to essentially evaluate problematic chemicals in products and to compel manufacturers and other responsible parties to replace problematic chemicals with safer substitutes. So we follow basically a four-step process, which is laid out in our regulations. We start with a candidate chemicals list, and then we identify and prioritize priority products, which is defined in our regs as a product that contains one or more candidate chemicals, which are of concern. And then a priority product is then added to our priority product list through a process called rulemaking. This is a formal process that government agencies use to create or amend regulations. And then following rulemaking, manufacturers and other responsible parties are then required to notify DTSC's Safer Consumer Products Program that they make, import, assemble, or sell the listed priority product. And then the manufacturers may then be required to perform an alternatives analysis on the chemical in this product. And this is the fourth stage of the process, or the third stage of the process. The fourth stage of the process is DTSC may implement what's called a regulatory response. And I'm going to go through each of these steps in a little more detail so everyone understands how our process works. Excuse me. So our candidate chemicals list is essentially our menu of chemical options. It is created, it's essentially a list that's established based on other authoritative lists, and it contains approximately 3,300 chemicals or chemical classes in which we can evaluate as part of our process. The list is filled with 23 authoritative lists based on hazard traits, and then there's 8 lists that are based on exposure potential. And our, oops, sorry about that. I'm having some technical issues. There are some exclusions to our candidate chemicals list, which includes pesticides, prescription drugs, radioactive chemicals, and natural toxins. And as our candidate chemical list is our menu of chemical options that we can evaluate, our 3-year priority product work plan is our menu of product options that we can potentially evaluate over a 3-year period. And our current 3-year priority product work plan covers 6 different product categories, including beauty, personal care, and hygiene products, which nail and hair products fall under. And so going back to explain how our priority product selection process works, this is essentially our research process. This is where we evaluate chemicals in products. And every time we do that, We evaluate whether there is the potential for exposure to one or more of the candidate chemicals in this product and whether that exposure could contribute to or cause adverse impacts throughout the life cycle of the product. And during our research process, we do mainly literature review, but we could also potentially do a lab study, or we could fill research gaps through other research efforts. And so the alternatives analysis process, or AA process, as we often call it, asks manufacturers to ask the question, is the chemical in the product necessary? And are there safer alternatives to that chemical in the product? Or maybe an alternative manufacturing process that may get rid of maybe certain contaminant chemicals. And in addition to evaluating the public health impacts of alternatives, manufacturers are also required to take into consideration other factors such as ecological impacts, impacts of a substitute chemical or product during its life cycle, whether an alternative is functionally equivalent or feasible, and they're also required to conduct an economic analysis. And all of the alternatives analyses are shared on DTSC's website and open to public comment. So one of the last stages of our process is DTSC may issue what we call a regulatory response. This is after a manufacturer or other responsible party conducts an alternatives analysis and they make recommendations on possibly a substitution. And we, during the regulatory response portion of our process, we may issue sales restrictions or prohibitions. That is an option, but it's not, the regulatory response is not necessarily a chemical ban. We could also ask responsible parties to either provide additional information on their product or the chemical in the product. We may ask them to take additional safety measures, such as requiring people that use personal protective gear while using their product, or we may even require them to do some additional research. There's a number of, as listed here, there's a number of reg responses. And we always aim to implement a reg response, which is the most protective of human health or the environment, and also maximizes the use of safer, feasible alternatives. Okay, so over the past, over 10 years now, DTSC and the Saber Consumer Products Program in particular has done a significant amount of work evaluating nail products and promoting the safety of nail products. Prior to the establishment of the Safer Consumer Products Program, DTSC conducted a limited testing of nail products in about 25 different nail products. And the report was issued back in 2012. And I've provided links to all of these efforts, assuming that people will receive the presentations after this conference. I won't be able to go into all the details. This is going to be just a brief overview of all of our work. We started doing screening research as Safer Consumer Products on nail products back in 2016. And so far we have done screening research on approximately 40 different chemicals in nail products, which has taken quite a bit of time. And we held our first public workshop on nail products back in March of 2017. And actually several of the speakers here today actually spoke at that conference. And we also worked on publishing a Healthy Nail Salon Recognition Program guidance for local agencies to oversee safer nail salons in their counties or cities. So we did this with the work of many stakeholders, including many of the people who are in attendance today. And then in March 2019, we did have another workshop where we officially announced proposing toluene in nail products as a priority product. And this is currently undergoing rulemaking, and it should be final as of October of this year. And then we also announced that we would be prioritizing methyl methacrylate in nail products as a priority product, and that's about to go through rulemaking right now, although I know it was officially announced 2 years ago. So our process is a little slow. We would prefer it to be quicker, but we're a very small program and we're doing what we can. And our most recent efforts with nail products is we conducted what we're calling an information call-in, where we requested stakeholders, including manufacturers, retailers, assemblers, and importers, to share information on the ingredients in their products. And a report on that will be coming out soon, sometime this year or early next year. And then we also had conducted a lab study of 157 different nail products, including 21 different nail product types. So it's much more extensive than the study that was done back in 2012. And we will be issuing a report on that, hopefully late this year or early next year. And one thing I want to sort of promote now is we are actually having our own public workshop coming up we're probably late this month, or no, this is June, late in July. Sorry about that. It should be at the end of July. There's a chance it may be early August. And so we'll go into details about the preliminary findings of all of the research we've been doing on nail products over the last 10 years. So I encourage people, if you can, to attend that workshop. We're essentially going to have 3 different presentations covering the screening research of nail products that we've done on the, approximately 40 chemicals. We're going to share information collected from the information call-in that was shared by manufacturers and other folks. And then we're also going to discuss the preliminary results of the nail products lab study. And approximately a month before the workshop, we will share a background document that summarizes all of the research and rationale for our decisions in what we call a background document. Oh, I forgot to move the slide along. Sorry about that. So the workshop, as I said, will be tentatively late July. So we've also conducted quite a bit of research so far on hair straightening products. We started doing this research starting in 2020, and we evaluated 8 different chemicals or chemical classes in hair straightening products. This research started as a result of concern about the Brazilian blowout straighteners, but we expanded our effort to include not just the keratin straighteners, but also relaxers and temporary hair straighteners that contain certain candidate chemicals. You can find some of the research summaries on the links that I provided in this slide. Hopefully they'll be shared soon. And we shared all our findings last year in a public workshop back in June of 2021. And so based on the research we've done so far, we are currently drafting what we call product chemical profiles. And these are for 2 chemicals and products that we're going to potentially propose as priority products. And I apologize that I can't exactly name what they are just yet. And then we're also doing some research, an exposure research study, where we're reaching out to hairstylists and barbers or salon owners to collect information regarding the products that they use.
Christine, Christine, just to let you know, if you could wrap it up, that would be great.
I have 2 slides.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so the research we're doing for stylists and salons and exposure, I'm sharing a little bit of information on it here. There's certain data gaps that we have, including how frequently people use certain products. And we're not just asking about hair straightening products, we're asking about other hair products that stylists or barbers are concerned with. You can find the survey by clicking the QR code on the slide or the link at the bottom, and it'll be shared with you after this conference. And just to find updates on what our program is doing, you can check our timeline. It's on our website, and I provided a link to it. You can join our email list. And also, as Jan Robinson Flint mentioned on Monday in her presentation. Representation matters. And we have a very diverse group of scientists and engineers in our program, and we're going to be growing soon. So starting possibly in August, we're going to be hiring quite a number of new scientists. So if anyone is interested in positions with our program, please check out our career opportunities and sign up for our recruitment email list. And as well, there's some money out there for, small grants through Cal EPA. And so I provided a link there. I'm not sure when the next grant period is going to begin, but hopefully, if not late this year, it should start next year. And with that, anyone could email questions to me at my email provided here or type them into the chat. Thank you.
Great. I think you might just need to forward your
Oh,
slide
yep, sorry. I was going on without the
or put your
slide.
email in the chat maybe.
Yep,
Thank
and
you
then,
so much.
okay, there's my email. Sorry
There
about
we
that. I was
go.
having some technical